Hi, welcome and thank you for showing up to my presentation on the Meraki AP Cloud Service. My name is Mike Yardley. I'm a current network administrator and I support the Meraki Cloud infrastructure in our school district. I've been married for 14 years. I have 2 kids, 12 and 8. They're wonderful kids. I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, unfortunately, this season at least. They're not doing so well. So how about y'all? Has anybody here used or administered the Meraki access points cloud service? Yes,
I have.
Ryan, you have?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think about it?
It's great.
It's great? Good.
I
Awesome.
love it.
How about you, Dave? Have you used it?
Yes, I have.
Awesome. Has anybody here deployed a wireless network? Glenda, you have?
No.
Good job. Thank you very much.
Oh,
How did it go?
it went great.
You used ProCurve too? Nice. Awesome. So this is kind of the way it goes these days. This little cartoon is it says we've been offline for approximately 20 minutes. Is this what they call roughing it? I know my kids and everybody I know, if they can't get on the internet, that's what it's like. So it's pretty funny. So wireless these days is pretty important. All right, so here's our agenda for today. We're going to cover what is the Meraki Cloud Service. We're going to go over some of the main benefits of using this service. We're going to cover traditional managed APs versus the Meraki Cloud. Then we're going to actually do a demo with the supplied APs that you have in your table and the handout notes. We're going to be actually setting up an access point, configuring some basic settings, and configure layer 7 to manage iTunes traffic. And then we will look at the dashboard and look at some of the options we have.
It's the application layer.
Right, well, layer 7 is the application layer, right? Good job.
Hey, by the way, I want to say
Yes,
that
sir.
these cookies are really good.
Are they? I'm glad you like them. They're from a local bakery down the street. All right, so what is the Meraki Cloud Service? Well, it's basically a web portal that allows you to manage all of your access points, whether they are in San Diego, Dallas, Canada, doesn't matter. As long as it has a connection to the internet, you can manage it through their dashboard. It allows a single place that you can go, set up settings, see users, see activity, see what kind of traffic is going through your wireless network. It allows for a secure and scalable wireless deployment done simply. And the secure part, no user traffic actually travels into the cloud. So Meraki does not know what your users are doing.
What about reliability with the cloud?
I'm glad you asked. So Meraki was recently purchased by Cisco a couple of years ago, and they maintain multiple data centers across the US that allows for a 99% uptime, which is their SLA. So, but even if it does go down, which is not likely to happen, your access point already has all the stored configurations locally, so the access point continues on normally, like nothing ever happened. So your users would have no idea. Great question. Thank you, Garland.
Thank you.
So what are the main benefits of the Meraki Cloud? So it allows for a rapid deployment or replacement of access points. Since settings are applied as soon as the access point is connected to the internet and it is set up in the cloud in your organization. It allows for a smaller staff to maintain your settings in your wireless network. Since it's all in one area, all your access points are there. It doesn't require a huge staff to go in and manage all these different controllers, make sure the settings are the same, since they're all in one place. It's great. It allows for future proofing as the dashboard is always continually upgraded. As soon as they release a new feature, you get it. When they release a new firmware, which they do it quarterly, your access points automatically get it unless you choose to set up a schedule, which you can completely control when your APs get a firmware update. So you're always up to date with the latest and greatest. And then, they also recently added Ethernet switches and security appliances and an MDM solution so you can manage a whole host of networking devices from your web portal. Kind of cool. So a traditional AP versus a Meraki Cloud AP. So a traditional access point, you either have each individual access point, you have to go in and set it up. So you log into it, you set it up, put your settings, mount it to the wall wherever you're going to put it. The next one, you do the same thing. So however many you have to touch it over and over and over again. Or you might have one that has a controller. Well, a controller will only handle X amount of APs, and you got to get another one, make sure the settings are the same on that one, and so on and so forth. You don't have that problem with a Meraki cloud. You put as many access points in your organization as you want. They connect to the cloud, download your settings, they're ready to go and service clients. So we're going to go ahead and set one up. I'm going to pull the dashboard up here on the projector so you can follow along with me. Feel free to ask questions if you have any as we go through it. In your notes, I have the username and password that you can use temporarily for this demo. This is the URL you need to go to access the portal. And then I wasn't going to have you plug them in, but I've already done that for you just to make it easier and speed up time. All right, so the first thing we need to do is create a network within an organization and then add an access point to it. And then from that point forward, we will set up some settings. So here's what the dashboard looks like when you first log into it. To create a network, you would go to organization, or actually, you can do it for the drop down up top. Select create a network. And this is the screen you see. So we're going to take the default name, which is Meraki Wireless. We're going to have a network type of wireless, since we're just doing wireless access points. We're just going to use the default configuration because we want to go in and set that up ourselves here in a few minutes. And then we will hit create network. This may take just a second. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll have to change that. So we'll give it a wireless demo. Oops, if I can spell. Scroll down and hit create network. There we go. So it says there are no APs in this network, so we need to add one. So what we'll do is we'll go over to organization, we'll go to inventory, and it'll show all of the APs that you have in your network. So from here we'll search for one that I have here hooked up for my projector here. Give me 1 minute. Y'all can follow along and do the same.
Ah, there it is.
LP4Q, and it should show up before I even finish typing it. So there it is. So we'll select it, and then we will add to an existing network. We will scroll down for your demo network, wireless demo, and we will add to existing. Oops. What's going on? Oh. No device found. Let's see what's going on. And that is it, right? LP4Q, yes. So let's, okay, so let's remove it from this network. There we go.
So by default,
Hold
is
on,
it-
hold on, hold on. I'm just gonna cut this out since I didn't know that wouldn't work.
Why? Why would you kind of? I think it would be really good.
Yeah. Okay, so here is our access point. We'll select it. We'll go to add to. And we'll scroll down to our wireless demo network and add to existing. And there it is. So we'll come up to the top, we'll select that network. Right here. And here we go. So if we go to network wide, or I'm sorry, wireless, and look at access points, we should see our access point we just added to it. And there it is. Alright, any questions on how to do that?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay, good.
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, alright. So, the next thing you would naturally want to do is you would want to set up an SSID. So let's do that real quick. So we already have one. This is the default one that you get when you set it up. So let's edit settings. And here you can set up just open so anybody can connect to it. You can set up a pre-shared key. You can do MAC-based authentication to it, or WPA2. The settings you have here are splash pages, so you can have different splash pages if you wanted to do a billing, some kind of a sign-on to your back-end LDAP. You can create your own splash page too as well. And then you can do, this is important too, so how do your clients, when they connect, get an IP address? NAT mode is the default settings. You can do bridge mode, so they just become part of your LAN. Layer 3 roaming might be up to your organization depending on if you're using it or not, or you can set up a VPN. You can do VLAN tagging, which is pretty cool. You can do a content filtering, it works okay. And this Bonjour forwarding is for Apple devices. And then you can select whether you want your different spectrums and how you want whether you want a 5 gigahertz, 2.4, whether you want to turn one of those off, and then your minimum bit rate. So we'll just take the default settings here. So we haven't changed anything, but if you had made a change, you would hit Save Settings. And then you would say up here, Changes Saved. Any questions about that? No?
I don't
Okay,
think
alright.
so. I think, I have a question about transmit power. Can you change that?
Sure. Well, yeah, we can take a look at that real quick. So once you have it in your network, if you wanted to go check it out, we would go to Organization under Configure, and then Settings, Ryan.
What is that configuring the actual?
I'm sorry. If you go to Wireless and then you go to Radio Settings, so we're going to go look at the actual physical AP, and then from there you can actually go in and change the transmit powers, whether you want to turn it up or turn it down.
I see.
So we'll see our one access point here. And then we need to select it, so we'll highlight it. And then over here, this is where you would get your transmit power. So if you wanted to do 2.4 gigahertz, you can either let it to auto, and AP will throttle that power based on surrounding APs. Or you can come and manually
Is that
adjust
best practice to have it set to auto?
That is what they recommend, but obviously if you're in your organization and you've done a wireless survey, you may have different settings that you need to apply in your building.
I see.
So if you don't know, it's best just to leave it as auto. But you can also turn that one off. And if you want to change your 5 gigahertz, you can change the power levels right there. Great question. Thank you. All right. So the next part. Okay, so let's look at some other options here. We have a mouse stack over here. Here we go. So in your network, once you have people set up, you can come to clients.
Is that where you see what clients are attached to your access point?
Correct. So if you were to take your phone, you want to go ahead and do that?
Okay.
Connect to the wireless demo. We should see it populate this pane right here. Alright, so after the access point decided to do a firmware update, we're back. Alright, so we have a device. Here is your phone, Ryan, that's connected in here. And let's do a refresh here and see if we can see some client traffic. Let's click right here. And what we would see, which apparently haven't had enough traffic go through there yet, we would see different applications that they would identify right here. We would see your usage traffic-wise. Here is your IP address. You get a MAC address of your phone, and then you got a policy that you've applied to that device. So that's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
Yep. So let's take a look at. We'll pretend this is an iPhone instead of an Android phone, and let's set up a layer 7 rule to block iTunes. So you go to wireless, and then firewall and traffic shaping. Okay, so let's configure a firewall rule, an application rule, a layer 7 rule to limit iTunes. So click here, layer 7 firewall rules, click and add a layer 7 firewall rule. In an application you will see video and music, and underneath that bring up another option, a bunch of selections over here. You'll scroll down to iTunes, and then right here, and that is it. And we'll scroll down and hit Save Changes, and that will apply that rule to the access point. And if you were to hook up an iPhone to this and then bring up iTunes, you would get no connection. So you can do it with a bunch of other different applications. You can go and do custom applications and configure ports to block and manage different things. And you can do traffic shaping, so if you wanted to limit the client, the entire access point, so each person that connects to it only gets a certain amount of bandwidth, you would do it under traffic shaping rules here right now. Everything is set to unlimited, so you can use as much data as you need to, or as you can consume. And that is pretty much it. So we've covered is how to add an access point. We have covered then how to set up an SSID. We've connected a client to it successfully. We have then set up an application layer rule to block iTunes. And then we looked at how we can limit the amount of traffic that each client gets. So with that said, here's a few tips that y'all can take away with. The licensing is done by years. It's cheaper if you buy multiple years, as usually Cisco does a deal, or Meraki does a deal where if you say you buy 5 years, but you don't have to pay for 3. Like, that's a huge savings that you can get. If you're doing multiple networks with multiple SSIDs, you can use a clone feature to take those settings and easily copy them over without having to go and recreate them. Huge time saver. Highly recommend looking into that one if you're under that scenario. So we looked at how easy it is to set up an access point in the cloud, and we looked at how simple it is to look at our clients and what they're doing, set up a rule to manage iTunes traffic, and we've talked about how just the simplicity of managing your wireless system is. And that's it. So does anybody have any questions on what we've done, what y'all have done, what we've covered, or are we good? All right, I'll take that as a no. And thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.